going? Today we are looking at a beautiful, beautiful tune that I'm sure many of you know. It's from the Civil War documentary by Ken Burns. That's where it was popularized anyway, and it's a beautiful tune written by Jay Unger called Ashokan Farewell. And I've had a bass melody version of this for a while and wanted to share it with you because I think it lays out really beautifully on the bass and sounds really nice in the rich lower register as well. So this is one you want to get your bow out for sure. Kind of has that longing, sentimental quality to it that works so well under the bow. So first I just want to play through the melody once. And obviously you can use that as a reference tool while you're practicing if you prefer to learn visually. Also, obviously tab and notation are attached below, so you can look at those if you prefer the written material. And then I just want to go over a few different things in here that I think are unique and require a little extra attention. So here's the full A part and B part to Ashokan Farewell, played on the double bass. Really is a beautiful melody, and there's so much room for interpretation and musicality within there. I guess maybe we'll start there because with a melody like this, and it really, I mean, any melody, but especially the really languid, sentimental, slow ones, you want to make sure every phrase has direction. This is just like overall music concept. It has, nothing in particular to do with acoustic music or bluegrass. It really, at any given genre, you want to make sure that there's life and direction to each phrase. So, for example, in that B part, I kind of have this moment where I'm coming down quieter before I come back up high for that big 1/7 chord. That's a pretty big moment, but before that, it's very quiet. Let me just demonstrate it. Let's see. So I'll just go from here. Very quiet. So I'm kind of whispering, and then I have this big crescendo, which works really nicely on an up bow. So like maybe I'll just demonstrate playing that phrase very square, and you'll notice the difference. A lot of the life's taken out of it. Still nice, but it's a little stale and robotic compared to the dynamics that I kind of put in there. So, that being said, I don't want to put my version of the dynamics on the score. Obviously, you can play along with my version and try to, capture it and mimic it to a certain extent. But I kind of, challenge all you guys to go out there and try creating your own shape to this tune. I think there's like different interpretations that can be utilized, and I wanted to leave it a little bit more of a blank slate. Because part of this page is that I feel like bass players don't get enough credit for being creative musicians of their own. So I want all you guys to like get out there and try doing something with this tune that is uniquely your own. So that's one thing. Make sure each phrase has direction. Very important. And then getting a little bit more detail oriented here. There's a lot of moments here where I actually decide to use closed notes instead of open strings. And that's something that I do a lot when I'm playing with a bow. So for instance, there's a spot, the very end of the tune is maybe where I would mention, I'm playing this last phrase. It's E, D, C sharp, and D. So if I were to play that with the open D, it would sound like this. I would do the E on the D string, open D, C sharp on the A string, and then I guess I would play the D open, something like this. It's kind of challenging with open strings when you're playing with a bow. I think you get a richer, warmer sound when you close it. So what I did instead is play all those notes on the A string. E, D, C sharp, and then the D at the end. And another reason is that I'm using some vibrato in this. And that's something that, may be foreign to some of you, and it's a little bit challenging to get under your fingers at first. It's kind of like, what is it again, with your stomach and your head at the same time, that kind of thing. Because it's like it's not intuitive, but that's another reason I would use closed notes, is so I can get that vibrato. I'm kind of wagging my hand, I guess I would put it, kind of like a dog would wag its tail on the D there. Much harder to get vibrato on an open string. Some people try to like vibrate the nut, but not quite the same. So, and then also that particular moment, I think is important to consider. Like those three notes all fall on the A string, and when you're playing with the bow, it's pretty important to have phrases be contained on one string at a time if possible. It just creates a more vocal sound. Again, like listen to the two back to back. Almost like two different filters are being applied when part of it's on one string and part's on the other. So you'll notice, like when possible, I try to keep phrases happening on one string for as long as possible. If you read the tab, you'll see that it's like notes are grouped in chunks on each string when possible, and I think that really helps keep it really vocal. And then there's one moment at the beginning where we're going up into kind of a partial thumb position. This is on measure 7. So go watch that thumb position 101 video if you haven't already from before. It'll help put your hand in the right position here. But starting on this open A string, I play A, D, F sharp, move with the first finger to A, first finger on D, then second finger on F sharp, and this is where I kind of go into a partial thumb position because my thumb is not on the back of the fingerboard. It's kind of resting on the side. F sharp, and then quick G with my third finger. That's very thumb position-y. Back to F sharp, and then to the E with my fourth finger. So check it out again in full stride and watch where my thumb goes and see how I'm going into this kind of half thumb position, and be conscious of it when you're doing it yourself. All right. One last thing, just markings. At the very beginning, you'll see there's kind of like a downward facing arrow on top of the first note, and then on top of the third note, there's like a little hat, I guess you can call it. Kind of looks like a rectangle without a bottom line. So the first one is an up bow, that triangle, and that means that you're starting kind of closer to the tip usually and moving this way towards your hand, and then the next marking is a down bow, which means you're going the opposite direction, kind of down here, going that way. And you'll periodically see those throughout the tune in different places. When you don't see them, just go back and forth. That's what you want to do. There's one moment where I'm actually using something called hooked bowing, which is when you do 2 up bows in a row or 2 down bows in a row. And I'm doing it on measure 28. So it goes, let's see. So I'm A on the D string, F sharp, and then D on the A string. So I'm slurring the first 2, a little breath, and then continue on the up bow and land on the down bow. That's so I can get that down bow on the downbeat of the next measure. So that's a good example of like where it doesn't happen in order, back and forth. But every other spot, pretty much we're going back and forth between a down bow and an up bow. And yeah, one other thing is this concept of slurs. That's when you connect 2 notes at once, you know? So instead of going there, I'm going same bow, direction, and connection with the hair, but different notes on the left hand. And you'll see those marked by like little, I don't know, half moons, I guess you can call it. Little lines, curvy lines that connect the notes. So those are slurs. But yeah, I think that's about it. A beautiful, beautiful song. And also feel free to try playing a pizzicato if you want to start like that. If you feel like the bow is too much, you know. Sounds pretty nice with the fingers too. So either way works. And if you want to feel, again, get inspiration from my dynamics, but I don't want you to copy it. Try to come up with your own shape in your own direction, because we are all unique, beautiful individuals. So enjoy Ashokan Farewell, everyone, and I'll see you next time.